this policy of openness towards, first and foremost, towards its neighbors, but is also towards the wider world. Yes, traditional partners like Russia, now China, but also towards the European Union, yes, also United States, Japan, South Korea, India, and then of course the very location of Uzbekistan, which, at the age of great geographical discoveries, Central Asia suddenly gets marginalized because most of commerce went from the overland routes towards the shipping. And they were in this situation probably till the beginning of the century. And now we see the revival of what we now are mentioning and using this notion of the new Silk Road, actually re-establishing those old connections across the continent which existed for millennia before. And it opens so many new opportunities. It would be pity not to use them. We are at a very important stage of our true partnership. I think we are working in many areas as equals, even when we speak about development cooperation, which is a particular area where we are providing necessary financing to various projects here within the country. I think the Uzbek side is taking this in a very responsible way. Also, when we speak about trade relations, I think for the moment what is achievable in a situation when Uzbekistan is not yet the member of WTO, I think we more or less did. The government of Uzbekistan recently informed us about its intention to acquire the GSP Plus status, which would extend the range of those goods which could be imported into the European Union tariff-free. So the turnover is, probably not that big. It's 1.8 billion euros, of which absolute majority, those are European exports towards Uzbekistan. And of those, mostly machinery, all kind of the industrial equipment, but also some of the consumer goods, also cars, other means of transportation. So, but whether from Uzbekistan, mostly those are chemical products of some other extracting industries, including precious metals. And then I would say still a small amount of textiles and other finished goods, probably not fully using the potential of this market. One thing is that we keep a regular dialogue within the existing agreement, partnership and cooperation agreement. We are holding regular meetings with our counterparts, which is the Cooperation Council and then Cooperation Committee, and specifically Subcommittee on Trade, Investments and Economic Development, but also now newly established Subcommittee on Development Cooperation. And then, of course, because I mentioned rule of law, then specifically important subcommittee is on justice and home affairs, and also the dialogue on human rights issues. And in all those areas, we have enormous changes in the openness of our dialogue. We are now starting process of negotiations of enhanced partnership and cooperation agreement similar to those that the European Union has with countries like Kazakhstan, which we are just started negotiating with Kyrgyzstan as well, and similar one with Azerbaijan, which was concluded earlier. What they are mostly interested in, it's indeed what I mentioned: knowledge, how to do things, or probably even which things to do and which not. This is also quite important. Skills, how to practically implement this. And finally, it's also technologies. And it varies from agricultural production, like developing the horticulture sector, livestock, water management. It stretches into things related to environmental protection, waste management. It goes into the overall public administration. So those are things they would like to embrace. What is the latest state of the art available? We are in this unique situation when whatever sector of economy you touch, I mean, all of them need modernization. I would say the most critical areas are related to infrastructure. It's energy, communications, roads, railroads. Unfortunately, in all those cases, those are mostly state-owned enterprises, sort of natural monopolies in all those areas. So when and if government of Uzbekistan decides somehow to open those areas for real competition, I think this would be one of those areas where there are both needs on the Uzbek side and also most important opportunities for foreign investors. I think we have one good example, and those are Spanish fast trains running on rails from Tashkent to Samarkand, Bukhara and Karachi. So more of that sort of modern technologies injected in infrastructure would be needed here. Developments of renewable energy. I think Spain has quite a good experience in developing both solar and wind energy. Potential here is enormous. But of course, first what is needed, it's needed certainty about regulatory environment. And that might take some time before it's settled. For the rest, I think everything is open, everything else is open and has enormous potential. The country itself, it's 32.5 million inhabitants. So that's a consumer market by itself. With opening of bilateral trade with all neighboring countries, both in Central Asia but also Afghanistan, offers opportunity to place some of production facilities here in order then also to export to those adjacent markets. It's still very limited. It's still very limited for some reasons which I already mentioned. Frankly speaking, during previous decades, the investment climate here was not very much welcoming. So I would say those who came and invested, those were very brave people. But at the same time, when I speak to those people and we meet regularly, they are saying that now they feel, how the potential is unlocking. And probably what they invested in terms of money and efforts during previous years is starting to pay off quite generously. For the country itself, there is no other choice. Either they reform themselves, or they may re-enter the stage of protracted stagnation and actually moving inevitably towards economic, social, and then political crisis. I hope not of the same magnitude as in the Middle East, but still. So, and this is very clearly understood by the leadership of this country, that they have to reform. And second, probably I wouldn't be able to provide you with any hard evidence, but the feeling I would have, and many of my colleagues, diplomats working here in Tashkent, is that this reform process already passed a sort of the point of no return.